Hello everyone, welcome back to your week 2 recap. Before we get started, I'd like to give some thanks, firstly to everyone who streamed the games this week and commentated. Huge help if you want to get involved with that, message one of the staff, ask for the stream team role, and also another thanks, as you can see in the background, an amazing graphic which has come to us from Lucky. Absolutely amazing work, thank you very much for that one. So we'll start with the games we got next week, which you can see on your screen. So we've got Atlantis versus Aegis Hightower, Jabberwock versus IIR Bacon Clap, SDG versus the Pack, To Spawn versus LGBT, Midnight Direwolves versus Anubis Unchained, and finally Zen's Garden versus One. Last week's recap, it's another week of 3-1s. Bacon Clap 3-1s Atlantis, Anubis Unchained 3-1s Jabberwock, that one was unexpected. Zen's Garden win 3-1 over STG. The most unexpected is Aegis Hightower winning 3-1 over the Pack. And 4-0 this week is LGBT 4-0 Direwolves. And our closest game, predicted last week, 3-2 To Spawn versus One. So, going into week 3, where do I think the teams are? This one, I found the bottom more difficult to do than the top, really. I managed to fill out 1 to 3 in seconds. I got 11th and 12th in, but going from 10th to 4th this week was very difficult to do. Next week I think things are going to be a bit more stable, but there's a bit of movement from last week, so I'm not too sure if I'm going to get this right. But without further ado, 12th, Midnight Direwolves. I don't think this needs much explaining. They lost 4-0 to LGBT. They're not looking the greatest right now. I'd like to see them maybe do better, but they've got a tough week versus Anubis. If they can maybe claim a map, I might put them up higher, but I'm not holding out too much hope, I'm afraid. 11th is the Pack, and this is a team I had much higher last week, but they lost 3-1 to Aegis Hightower, which is a team I put 12th last week, which really surprised me, which is why they've massively dropped down. Like, you can't be losing to the team I put 12th last week. That just simply can't happen. 10th is LGBT, and this is the most controversial one I think I've done. That the team that won 4-0 I've put in 10th, but at the same time you did 4-0 the team that I put in 12th, and very easily put in 12th. So I'd like to see them do well, maybe take a couple of maps off To Spawn. A very good team. If you can hold your own there, then I will happily send you up. 9th goes to Aegis Hightower. They beat the Pack 3-1. I'd like to see them beat another team just to prove that it wasn't a fluke, if that makes sense. They face Atlantis this week, which is an okay team right now, so if you can beat them, you can definitely go higher up. 8th, SDG, you're going to stay there. I was tempted to put you higher, and I also was tempted to put you lower. I can't really put you lower than any of the other teams, because I think you can beat them quite easily, but I can't put you higher than any of these other teams, especially when you haven't won the game yet, and you've only taken a map off of each team that you've played. I mean, 1 map off Zen's and 1 map off To Spawn. Yeah, but you can't really go into the top half if you haven't won any games. 7th, Jabberwock, down a little bit further. I'm not sure what's happening here. Like, they lose 3-1, which really does surprise me. This team has a lot of potential. Hopefully they can bring it back versus ABC, which is a very strong team. If you can beat them, then you can happily go back up again, but if they don't start doing well, I'm going to have to drop them further. I don't want to. 6th is Atlantis. Really not sure what this team is meant to be going yet. I'm not sure if they're beating bad teams or they're just a good team playing good teams and winning. So we'll have to see how that goes. But Atlantis, I've sort of played the safe card, kept them in the middle. 5th is Zen's, and they've dropped down a spot from last week. Not because they played worse, it's just because the teams above them I think just played better. But if they can take some maps off of What, or even win What, who I've got higher up, of course. If you can do that, then you can definitely go up higher. Anubis comes into 4th. They face Atlantis, nearly won. Team I've got relatively in the middle of the pack. They beat Jabberwock 3-1, a team that everyone thinks good as well. So they deserve this 4th spot, I think, but they've Who have they got this week to play? They've got Midnight Direwolves, so I don't think there's much we can really gain from this if they stomp, so we'll have to wait until week 4 really. Bacon Clap comes into number 3, and this one's I thought was relatively easy to place. They placed Jabberwock this week. If they can comfortably put them away as well, which they have other teams who are lower down, I can feel really comfortable about leaving them in 3rd. And 2nd and 1st, you can obviously tell what's coming here. To Spawn's at number 1, what's at number 2. If you didn't watch that game, just go ahead and watch it. It was fun to play. Really sad we didn't win, but I don't think anyone can really argue that they're not 1 and 2 after the game that we watched. So that's my power rankings. Yep, if you want to get involved with the stream team, just add a member of staff, at me if you really want to, we'll get you the roles added. It's always good to have different people hosting. Thanks again to Lucky for this amazing graphic that he made. Everyone make sure to add him and give him your thanks. And apart from that, I will see you all next week.